Hello everyone, welcome back to SAP Technomaniac. This is the sixth part of our SAP Fiori Element series. In this video, we will understand the prerequisite before starting any SAP Fiori Element application. After understanding the prerequisite, we will go to the bus where we have already created one basic application implementation is part of this video series that is called project 1, where we have consumed the open source OData service Northwind. In that, we will open the folder structure and we will understand one by one all the file created there. We start today with the Index.html, and in upcoming video we will go each and every file in detail. So in this video we'll understand how Index.html file work, why we need, what all are the things it do. Let's get started. Whenever you create any SAP Fiori element applications, you have to make sure there are some prerequisite. In SAP Fiori elements, when you create in bus, you can't consume multiple OData services. Suppose you have multiple OData services in backend, you want to consume in same Fiori element application, that is not possible. There are some exception for that. First is that if you are creating or if you are using some OData service for app for help, then you can use uh, at the rate consumption, value request annotations and give the different CDS that will be that can be formed up in different service. In the same way, you can use the KPI tags in analytical applications. These are the two exceptions where you can use still in different service or different CDS you can consume in your service, and it will work along with your service, but you can't consume entirely two views in one service, two business objects, one you created for travel or one you created for sales order, one you created for a purchase order. You want to consume both the views in one application, it is not possible. For that you have to create the separate application, and all the services whatever you have providing in the both the view, it should be available in the single service only. Second is OData v4 service. It is specific to v4 services. You know there are different query options are available in OData. There are some query option we have to implement in backend like count, skip and token. Whenever you are using the v4 service, this count, skip and top should be implemented mandatorily. Otherwise, your application will not work properly whenever you are consuming v4 service. V2 service also it is recommended, but in the V2 service it is not available. Still it is fine, it will work. But V4 service it is mandatory to have these three query option implemented in your backend. This applies for the value help request also, which you are creating. As I told you in my previous step, we can have multiple services as only as form of the value help or as form of the KPI tag. So value help, when we are creating, we are consuming the different service in our application. That service also should have this skip, top and count already implemented. Otherwise it will not work in OData v4. Third and most important thing, the system requirement. Your ABAP system should be 7.5 and support package 1 and above, then only you can create the Fiori element application. And if you want to use draft capabilities, then your ABAP system NetWear version should be 7.51 and support package 2 and higher. So these are the prerequisite you have to make sure whenever you develop any Fiori element application. Apart from that, you can create the Fiori element on the BTP environment. You can create the SAP S/4HANA environment. I'd recommend if you are creating the Fiori element, it should be 1909 and above S/4HANA environment, and you can create your SAP application, this Fiori element application in cloud as well. So these all are the things we have to make sure whenever you are consuming any OData service or whenever you're creating Fiori element application. We have already seen the prerequisite, which we have discussed in previous slide. And apart from this, we have another prerequisite, bus should be installed, which we have discussed in my last video. Once you have created your project in bus using the wizard, then you will see this kind of structure. You have the project, you have node module, web app folder, which is the main folder, then you have other files as well. Each and every file have a significant impact on your application. For example, this is the web app folder, this is the main application folder. Most of the times you will be working on the when web app folder only. Inside the web app folder, we have the annotations. You can define the local annotations as per your requirement. We have I18N files where you can define the translations in different languages. Then we have local services and main service. This basically generate the mock data, which will help us to preview our application without connecting our app to the backend or backend any OData service. It will generate the mock data where we can easily preview without having the real-time data. Then we have the Component.js entry point of this application. Initialize the UI5, all the UI5 component. We have the Index.html, which we are going to discuss in detail in today's video. And we have manifest.json, where we define all the navigation and routings, what kind of app title and other details. That also we'll discuss in some other video. Each and every file we will discuss in one of one or another video, but in this video we'll start with the index.html. Apart from this main web app folder, we have other files also. UI5 files like UI5 YML file, UI5 local YML file, mock file. These will these all things will have the UI5 configurations. You no need to worry much about those files. Just most of the times, 99% of time, you will be working in the web app folder where we have annotations, I18 file, component.js, manifest.json file. These files you will be working on. Other files, it will be generated runtime automatically, but I will tell you about those files also, why it got generated and what is the use of those files also. So let us start with the index.html. So I took the screenshot of our project one folder, which we have created in my last video. So this is this screenshot from the same application which we have used the Northwind OData service, and I opened in this particular application the index.html file, and index.html file look like this. I want to create this particular series like that. If somebody don't know much about the front end development, they can also easily cope up. Most of the developers don't know and they have not much idea about HTML, CSS and JavaScript. They can also easily understand this particular application. Most of the times when we open this particular folder, we will get somewhere uh, we can say they will see these many files and what these are doing and what it is happening in behind. They will not able to understand anything. What they will do, just go and simply preview. So I just want to make sure those guys also will understand little bit about these all the files, so whenever we will get the real-time requirement and real-time issue, we will easily able to solve those problems, and how our application is working, that also we can understand easily. So we start with the HTML file. So again, HTML file have two sections. Every HTML document start with the doc type HTML. We have two sections. One is the header section and second one is the body section. We will discuss that also. We're starting with the language EN. It will tell this particular page, or it will help the browser and search engine or whoever reading that particular page. So this is in particular English language, and based on this particular language, if the translations are available for your applications, if somebody uses in the different region, it will automatically translate as well. So this is the very important tag, HTML tag we can say. Then first tag we have care set UTF-8, that is again encoding. It will help us to encode all the things whatever we have rendered in our page. So it cover almost all the character which is used in different language. It will easily understand each and every character is used in different language and rendered properly in our page. So that is the reason we are using the care set meta tag, and we are using the encoding UTF-8. And the next one is the viewport, where again this is the meta tag. The name is viewport, and we are giving the content as a width equal to device width. It will help the application to render properly in different devices, because we can open our application on the mobile as well, on the PC as well, or desktop or TV. So we are telling just that using this particular tag, whenever you will load, whenever the application will be load, it should start with the without zooming, and based on the device it will zoom accordingly. It should adjust the application accordingly. So that is the reason we are doing with the device, but based on the device width we are rendering our application. So this tag will help there. So if you see, so make your app responsive based on the device and start from off at the zoom level 0. Means without zoom it will start. If your device is bigger, then it will zoom, and if your device is lesser, then it will zoom out. Zoom in and zoom out accordingly your device, and it will look nicer. The next one is the UA compatible. This is very helpful. Suppose you have opened your application in older browser like Internet Explorer. I'm not talking about the S1, and there the most of the things are not opening properly. So we want to make sure our application open there properly. So that is the reason we are telling it should be compatible. You have to use the latest version of your engine, and it should render your application in the backward compatible browser as well. So if you're using the older version of Internet Explorer, there also it will work properly. That is the reason we are telling you should use the proper engine. Based on the browser, it should adapt accordingly. So this is help, this particular annotation help there. Then we have app title, which will appear when you save as a bookmark, or it will in the, what we can say, it will browser tab also it will appear whatever you will give this particular title. In the browser tab also you can see, and when you save as a bookmark, the application name, the bookmark name will be saved with the title. Then we have the style. Again, if you are aware about the CSS, the style will help to beautify our HTML document. So we are giving the style that all the tags are available in HTML page, like HTML body. Inside the body we have div, container, a container area. These all should render properly with proper height 100%. So we are telling, so it will adjust in each and every device, and it will render it 100% height in each and every device. So just giving the style, it will help, it will look consistent in all the device if the height of the element is in each and every device is equal. So full height and look consistent across the different device. So this is all the things I have given the uh, proper description here. You can read it out, but this is all about the style. Now let's move to the script tag. It is the heart of the bootstrapping. This is the tag which help to load your UI5 framework in your application. The in script tag we have the different part. First is the ID part, which is telling the what is the ID of this particular tag, so we can easily identify this particular script. Then source, where this particular JavaScript is located. So since is the framework specific, it is located at SAP server, but we are giving the short path resource / SAP UI5 core.js, and you can't see the full path. If you want to see the full path, whenever your application will load, you can go to the network tab and see what is the actual source where it is getting from. But in the bars you can't see exactly directly, because this all things is configured in your dev environment in backend. And next is the theme, what theme you want to use, SAP Horizon theme, and you can use the Fiori 3 theme based on the how your application will feel and look in front end based on this theme only. The next is the project folder. We can say resource root. Once your UI5 framework loaded all the needed file using the source location which we have defined in the SRC, then your application specific things will be stored in this particular project one folder. So we are telling what is my folder, what all are the things what I have created, which will be available in this particular project one folder. Next thing is on init. Once the all the things loaded by SAP UI5 framework, all the libraries loaded in our application, then where our app specific code start from. So those all things we are defining here inside this particular SAP UI core component support. And we are telling that we want to use the latest version of the UI5. So that is the reason we are telling compact version is the ease. And we want to load the asynchronously our application, even in the backend parallelly, along with our page loading. In the backend we want to load parallelly all the dependencies which is needed for our applications. We don't want to wait for the load our dependencies and then load our page, so it work asynchronously. And last thing, the frame option we are telling is a trusted. That means that we can embedded this particular application in any iframe. So you can create your frame in your website and you can use this particular application as is. So we are telling the frame option as a trusted. So these are the different part of this particular script tag. Each and every things will tell something. Based on this, our UI5 application will be initialized. Let's move on to the body tag. So body tag, you can see we have given body tag particular ID and class. Using this ID and class, we can modify the CSS of the particular body, which is using SAP to render all the application in proper format using the CSS. So that is the reason they have given this particular class and ID. You know basics of CSS, then you already know why we use the class and ID. I always recommend whenever you start UI5 or Fiori, you should know basic of the HTML, CSS and the JavaScript. But this is the basic element. If I want to explain, we can access this particular body using this particular ID or class, and we can modify this particular body, entire body together if we want to do. This is how the class and ID work. Inside that we have the div tag. This div tag plays the important role. The entire body, this will be having this particular div tag only. So first thing we are giving in this div tag is the data SAP UI component. Your main component of UI5 framework, which is given by the UI5 framework, and we can say the heart of your particular application, which will handle the life cycle of your application, which will bind your views and model together and do a lot of things for you. So that is the component called data SAP UI component. We are telling that this should be loaded in this particular div tag. That is your main component, which will be loaded from your library, which you have defined in upper section of your header. Once it is loaded, we have to tell what is your specific part of your application. Your applications, what is your component which you want to render inside this particular main framework. So that name we have to give. In my case, we have created the project one folder. That is my main folder or my application specific component that I have to give. That name I have to give in this data underscore name. So my project name, whatever I have, that project folder name, that I have to give here. So in that way, it will identify in the main component of UI5 framework what is your component, where is your all the components are there. That component name is the project one. Then this is particular ID div tag. We are giving some ID to this particular div tag is a container, so we can access this div tag whenever we want and we can modify accordingly our requirement. But we are not going to do. The framework uses this particular ID to modify this particular div tag if it is required. That is the reason we have to give the ID to this particular div tag. Once we have given the ID, we are giving the initial setting to this particular main component, or we can say component. We are telling this particular main component that what is the ID of our application specific component. We can give some other settings also, but mainly we are giving the ID to the our application specific component, that is the project one. Name we already given, we have given the id as the same name. You can give the different name also, but we all generally we use the same name, id and name. So we have given the project one as a id to the our application specific component. So here you have to understand two things. One is the our main component, which will be loaded by UI5 framework. Another one is your application specific project component, which is available in the project one. The next one is the data handle validation. This is again important. This, whenever you make data handle validation equal to true, it will do the application. You have a lot of input fields. For those input fields, it will handle the validation automatically, the form related fields. For example, general validation, not the application specific validation. Application specific validation you have to write your own, but some field is the numeric type, you are entering the character value, that kind of validation. If you have date field and you are entering something else, that kind of validation. Or some field is mandatory or not, those all the validations will be handled by your application automatically when you give the data handle validation is equal to true. So this is all about the body section, and this is all about the HTML section. So I hope I was able to explain this index.html file properly, because there are a lot of things. Once we see a lot of files in our UI5 projects, in the same similar way we will understand each and every file in upcoming videos. In this video we have discussed the prerequisite of SAP Fiori Element application. Apart from that, we discussed that in detail, the project folder, what all are the files are available. We deep dive into the index.html, that how it helps the bootstrap of our application. Bootstrap means initialize or load of our application in the web page. In upcoming video, in the similar manner, we will go to each and every folder or each and every file of this particular project one folder, like manifest.json file we have, component.json, i18n. What these files do, what all are the changes we can do in these files to make our application more robust, and we will go each and every line in detail, so you will understand whenever you will open next time this particular files, you will able to see what these lines are doing and why we are using these lines in our application. And we can change this line, or if we change, what will be impact on our application. These all the things we will see in detail in my upcoming videos. Before going to those videos, please like this video, share this video. If you didn't subscribe to this channel, please subscribe. It will help me a lot. And whatever you are feeling, you have some recommendation about this series, write it down in comment section. With that, thank you and happy learning.